1943. The sky over Europe belongs to the Allies. Crimson flames engulf Hamburg, and the thunder of British and American heavy bombers echoes through the shattered streets of Berlin, turning the administrative heart of the Third Reich into smoking rubble. Realizing that the surface is no longer safe, Adolf Hitler signs a top-secret decree that borders on industrial madness. Deep within the Owl Mountains of Lower Silesia, in modern-day Poland, thousands of forced laborers, prisoners of war, and concentration camp inmates are driven into the dense, unforgiving rock. Their mission: to carve out a colossal, subterranean metropolis, codenamed Project Riese, or the Giant. This wasn't just a simple complex of air raid shelters. This was designed to be an entirely self-sustaining underground empire. Spanning over miles of interconnected tunnels and reinforced with millions of tons of industrial-grade concrete, Riese was engineered to act as an invisible fortress. It was planned to house the entire high command of the Reich, Hitler's personal headquarters, hidden communication hubs, and massive subterranean factories capable of producing weapons of mass destruction, completely sealed off from the dying outside world. It was the ultimate, desperate architectural embodiment of a regime planning for a 100-year war from the deepest shadows of the earth. As the war collapsed around them, the Nazi leadership became obsessed with one goal: escaping the eyes in the sky and building a domain where the laws of physics and warfare could be rewritten without disruption. To understand the terrifying reality of Project Riese, one must understand the cost not just in Reichsmarks, but in human souls. The construction was placed under the ruthless direction of the organization Todt. Mining experts calculated that drilling through the solid, ancient gneiss rock of the Owl Mountains would take years under normal conditions. The Reich didn't have years, they had months. Over 13,000 prisoners, mostly transferred from the nearby Gross-Rosen concentration camp, were worked to death in the damp, freezing dark. The tunnels became a meat grinder. Laborers worked in 12-hour shifts, using primitive pneumatic drills and dynamite, breathing in toxic silica dust and toxic fumes from explosions. There were no safety measures. A single misfire meant dozens were buried alive under collapsing granite ceilings. If a worker became too weak to lift a shovel, they were immediately replaced and sent back to the camps to die. Historians estimate that thousands of lives were sacrificed just to excavate the hollow chambers we can see today. Every square meter of these echoing halls was paid for in blood, sweat, and a calculated disregard for human life. But how did Nazi engineers manage to keep a mountain from collapsing into their secret complex? The technical execution of Project Riese was a masterclass in brutalist engineering. The Reich wasn't just digging holes. They were blasting out cathedral-sized halls inside solid rock, some reaching heights of over 40 feet. To stabilize these immense spaces, German engineers utilized an innovative technique: thick, interlocking concrete rings poured directly against the blasted rock face. They created massive, reinforced concrete arches and heavy steel ribbing, advanced structural engineering that would later serve as the direct blueprint for Cold War nuclear bunkers designed to survive direct atomic strikes. The logistics were staggering. Project Riese consumed more concrete, timber, and steel in 1944 alone than the entire civilian population of Germany was allocated for rebuilding their destroyed cities. An entire network of narrow-gauge railways was laid out across the mountains just to transport the endless convoys of building materials. Millions of tons of supplies vanished into the mountainside. The surface was a decoy. The real strength of the Reich's industrial war machine was being buried deep underground, where no Allied radar or blockbuster bomb could ever hope to pierce. In May 1945, as the Soviet Red Army advanced rapidly from the east, the true purpose of Project Riese was locked away. The Germans didn't just retreat, they executed a meticulous, desperate cover-up. Engineers blew up the main transport tunnels, flooded the lowest subterranean levels with millions of gallons of water, and systematically burned every single scrap of architectural blueprint, shipping log, and construction archive. When Allied intelligence officers finally entered the few sections left intact, they were met with an eerie, silent ghost city of raw concrete. Massive, unfinished halls stood empty. Rusted railway tracks led straight into pitch-black flooded shafts. Empty elevator shafts dropped hundreds of feet into a flooded abyss. This total lack of documentation gave birth to some of the darkest, most enduring theories of World War II. Why build a complex this massive just for a headquarters? Some declassified intelligence files and researchers suggest that Riese's most secure sectors were built to isolate Die Glocke, or the Bell, a highly classified legendary Nazi project involving anti-gravity technology, plasma physics, and mysterious energy sources. Others argue that the site was chosen for the Reich's secret nuclear research program, hidden away from the world to build a weapon that could turn the tide at the final hour. Today, more than 80 years later, the Owl Mountains remain stubbornly silent, guarding a secret that was bought with the ultimate price. Only a fraction of Project Riese is open to exploration. The rest remains collapsed, flooded, and potentially booby-trapped, buried beneath millions of tons of solid rock. It stands as a grim, echoing monument to what happens when industrial genius is completely weaponized by madness. It is a labyrinth of cold iron and weeping stone that reminds us that some of the most terrifying chapters of human history weren't written under the open sky, but carved deep into the dark corners of the earth. Here at Patriot Story, we don't just scratch the surface of history. We look into the rust, the forgotten ruins, and the classified files that mainstream narratives choose to leave behind. There are thousands of these secrets still waiting to be dragged back into the light. If you are captivated by the heavy industrial mysteries of our past and want to keep exploring what lies beneath the surface, you have found your home. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment below. Do you think Project Riese was just an oversized bunker complex for a panicked high command? Or is there a groundbreaking piece of forgotten technology still waiting to be discovered in those flooded lower levels? Let us know what you think. This is Patriot Story, and we are just beginning to dig into the shadows.